welcome back to another tutorial. This week I'm going to paint something, it's going to be a boat. It's going to be similar to the boat that we done last week, but it's going to be on a beach. I got a lovely request from Grady Bell, if I'm correct. You requested a beach with some waves kind of rolling in on top of the beach, some nice white fluffy clouds up in the sky, and I'm going to just add a little touch because you know, painting a beach and just a sky is very, I won't say bland. You can make it nice, but we need a subject as well on the beach. So either a person walking with a dog, but I saw a lovely one with a boat on a beach, and I'm just going to add some clouds to the sky, okay? So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what I have drawn here on my canvas. Now, it took a while to get the perspective right on this boat. This is it, a boat on a beach, and we're going to have some nice water coming along, waves kind of crashing in on top of the, not crashing so much as kind of rolling along. So yes, that's kind of the theme I'm going for this week. Now it's a big canvas, it's a 16 by 20 canvas, and I primed it. What I did was I used a little linseed. No, I primed it first with my own primer, okay, just a regular white gesso primer. And what I done then was, because when it dried, it felt kind of quite chalky, you know, and when it feels quite chalky like that, I know that the paint is going to be sort of soaked through, and it's going to dry a little bit quicker than I need. So the canvas is quite dry. So what I done was I took some linseed oil. Look, just regular linseed oil. Alright, don't know if you can see that there now. Linseed. And I put some on a tissue, a little bit of blue tissue, and I just kind of rubbed it along like this, covering the canvas with a very light coat of linseed oil. And I suppose you could relate it to a liquid clear type of a thing, but this, I mean, the canvas is not wet. You know, when I do this now, there's nothing coming off the canvas on my fingers, okay? It's kind of dry, but it has a nice kind of a coat, a nice kind of a clear glaze in the canvas. Now it's kind of soaked into the canvas, but it takes the dryness out of the canvas, and the paint will go on lovely and smoothly along here, and it's fantastic for blending and that type of thing. So that's the subject this week. I have lots of brushes here now. I'm waiting on a delivery of small stubby brushes. I've had a lot of requests for stubby brushes lately, but the store where I get them, they haven't got their hands on the brushes for a long time, for a period of a couple of weeks. So there's a few people waiting on delivery of my stubby brushes. They said they would have them this week. I'm hopeful that they will have them in the next day or so, and I can ship them off then. If you're waiting for stubby brushes, please do be patient. I understand your frustration, but they just ran out of stock completely. Probably because of me buying everything in there. So yeah, you know, look, they will get to you, not to worry, alright, I promise. So look, this is a lovely little boat I done, similar, it's kind of turned very slightly, and it's tricky to get the angle right, the perspective. So look, we're just going to try this and see how we go, yes? Now my colours: titanium white, Naples yellow, a little cobalt blue, that is, some cadmium yellow, a tiny bit only, some lamp black, some phaylo blue, some burnt umber, some burnt sienna, which has run down the palette on to some crimson. So there are the colours. I will fix that there now in just a moment. So yes, let's have a little bit of fun with this and see how it goes. This is going to be a nice one. I'll put this away. Now I'm working on my backyard at the moment. That's why tutorials are kind of all over the place, up and down. One day it's there, then the next day it's not there, next week it is, the next week it's not. I'm just working on my yard at the moment, because if you remember correctly, I had a lot of decking all the way across here, okay? That was all decking boards, but they were very slippery, they were gone green with mould, and they were very, very dangerous. So I took everything up, I pulled up all the decking and the framing underneath. I kind of leveled this out somewhat, and I put these long beams then across here. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be a step down onto lots of stone. So I'm basically going to put a lot of grey, a nice dark grey stone all the way along my back garden, okay? I think that'll be nicer. And I put lots of weed fabric down on this first to control the weeds. And then I just shovel a lot of stone in there, fill it up. So I think that'll be nice. So yeah, that's what I've been doing recently. I've been very busy trying to get that done and trying to get it sorted. So let's go and have a bit of fun with this. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, it's going to be a nice subtle painting. A subtle one, we'll say, okay? Subtle, subtle, subtle. Follow me along. I hope you enjoy it. Do keep sending me your paintings for analysis and for advice even. I love seeing what you're doing, and you're doing a fantastic job. By the way, thank you so much for my support, okay? Let's go, grab your stuff. Okay, here we go. There's the photograph up on your screen. Isn't that lovely? It's just a simple scene. Now I brought the horizon line down a little bit because it was very high up. I want to just get some nice bright fluffy clouds up in that sky. And so just a quick sketch. You can see the mess I made here. I have to keep rubbing it out just to get the perspective just right. So it's a boat, slightly turned. And yeah, we'll have a bit of fun with this. Some shadows, that kind of stuff. Right. Let's go. I'm going to grab my large stubby brush and I'm going to just put in a very simple bright blue sky, okay? And I'm going to try cobalt blue for this for a change. Now I'm taking some thinners in my brush. All I have is just a drop of turpentine. I show you here, look. It's just pure turpentine and I put a little drop of linseed oil then into that, give it a good mix up, and that's my thinners then. It's brilliant. And you want to need a little bit. That's all I have, look. And that should do me for the entire painting. So I'm going to dip it in now, my brush right into this, soak the brush and just take off the excess like that. Let's try some cobalt for a change, okay? Because cobalt blue is a much brighter, more vibrant blue rather than phaylo. Now I have phaylo blue just maybe for the very top section of the sky, but I'm going to try cobalt this time because cobalt is a lovely soft blue. It's a very soft earthy blue, but it's not to win your face. Do you know what I mean? Now you can see what I'm doing, look, a nice creamy kind of consistency, and this will keep us going for most of the sky. And I'm thinking I was going to put a hint of crimson into this, just a tiny amount of the corner of a bristle, just to warm it ever so slightly, alright? Just for this sky. I want the sky to be sort of a very subtle, hazy kind of a blue sky. You know the kind of a sky when you're out on the beach, when you're on the beach looking off and it's a very sunny day. It's a very hazy kind of a bluey kind of a sky, isn't it? So I want to try that. Let's see now how this goes. Now look how that's moving along my canvas beautifully, look. See? And that's just one brush load. The mix is nice and thin. It's not very, very traditional thick oil paint. It's a very light, thin mix. And you can see right through the paint. You can see the canvas grain right through it. But I will then add to this and I will build up slightly thicker layers as I go on, right? This is just a kind of, let's call it a base coat, a kind of a filling in sort of a stage. Now I'm taking a little bit more crimson, but more white into that, and mixing it right through the brush because a lot of the paint goes up to the ferrule side of the brush, the thick bulky side. So now you can see, look, that's a little bit more on the pink side, isn't it? So I'm going to soften that right down now and a bit more white as I come down. And the canvas now is lovely. By the way, I only have this masking tape as a guide, okay? It's not sticking to the canvas because of the oily surface that's on there. But look, it'll be fine. We'll get there. Now let me just go right along there with that and then fill in the sky. And as I said, it's a really, really very thin layer of paint on this. Now, I hope you can hear me okay, by the way. I have the microphone up over my canvas here for a change. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more cobalt to that, and I'm going to go up the top and I'm just going to have a look. Now the thing about cobalt blue is it's very, very forgiving. So even though I have a lot of dark colour here, look, when I put it on the canvas, it's going to almost disappear immediately into the colour that's already there, you see? It doesn't have a huge impact on your painting. Whereas if I used phaylo blue, and I'll show you, if I use a tiny, tiny amount of phaylo blue, look, just a tiny amount on the corner of my brush, it has a huge difference. And this colour will really stand out, you see? It's a very, very dark, rich colour. Now I'm keeping with the cobalt side, I think, for now, because I want this to be a nice bright blue sunny day. So let's just sit back now and take a look at this. That's lovely now, isn't it? I may even lighten the bottom half a bit more. So now what I want to do is clean my brush. And when you're cleaning brush with oil paint, okay, you don't go into your turpentine and swish it around as you would with a watercolour. What you do is you dip it into your turpentine just once, okay, and then it's soaking now with turpentine, look, and then you just give it a good scrub on the brush, and that takes off all the paint. Well, 90% of the paint is gone, most of it is gone, you see? And that's how you clean your brush. And then your turpentine is still relatively clean, you see. So I notice with a lot of my students when I'm giving lessons here privately, they'll switch their brush around in the turpentine and it's immediately ruined. It can't be used again. It has to be cleaned out and topped up again, you see. So it's just a good point, and it'll make our turpentine last a lot longer. So, right, cloud. We want clouds in this. Oh yeah, I said I want to lighten this a bit. So with a dry brush, I'm just going to take up some white, look. Some nice thick white paint. And I'm going to go along the bottom of this and just lighten it. And keep going into your white now, you see. I want to put on a nice thick layer of light colour at the end of this sky. If you put on too little, it's just going to disappear into the colour that's there. So put on plenty of white on your brush. So there, I think that's a bit better now, isn't it? That's nice and light off in the distance. Let's get some nice white fluffy clouds going. Now, normally I would kind of let this sit for an hour or two before I tackle clouds. White fluffy clouds at least. But I know I don't have the patience to let this dry for a while. I just want to crack on and have a bit of fun. So I'm going to try and do the white fluffy clouds now with just titanium white. And let me find a nice brush here now that we can use for this. There's lots of different ways of doing white fluffy clouds. I'm thinking a nice soft brush. Let me have a look here now and we'll see. This is not a bad one. Something in the middle, a nice small flat brush, something very worn, you see? That's very, very worn there now, isn't it? I love using soft brushes because they give such a lovely soft effect on a painting. This is a little bit firm now, so let's try this first, look. Dry brush into some white and let's just go for it. Now I'm looking, I don't want to overpower the sky with lots of clouds, so I'm thinking just one or two kind of darkening across. So let me just try this now and go around in little circles, look. Like so. Now you need to keep your brush really clean when you're doing this. Really lovely and clean. So keep cleaning the brush every couple of seconds, okay? Just do a little bit like this, okay, soften it in, and then I go down and I give my brush a wipe on the tissue again. Just wipe off what's there and go back into some fresh white again. Let's go here, let's put a nice little one here. The technique is just round in circles, that's all, okay? And then I'm softening the bottom half down so it almost disappears off into the horizon, okay? And that's just a nice simple white fluffy cloud. Now normally I would kind of go and put shadows on all of these, but I don't want to overpower the sky. Again, it's all about this area, alright? It's all about this area. This is where it's all happening. So I want to keep my sky nice and subtle and not too overpowering. Okay, so I'm just going to go around And the technique really, I suppose, the only way I can describe this kind of technique is when you have paint on your brush, I'm pushing the corner of the brush out. So I'm forming that curve, you see. So I'm pushing the paint out with my brush until I get the desired shape. So I'm always using the edge of the brush. I'm just thinking the edge of the brush all of the time. That's what I'm thinking about, the outside edge of the brush. And then soften it back down again. Okay? Now, sit back after each one because you don't want to overpower your painting. It's very easy to overdo this and you'll end up then with lots of clouds all over the place on your canvas and it might look too much. I think trying to find a balance is the key. Now off in the distance a cloud will start stretching, and because they're so far away all you can see is the length of the cloud, so they'll get very very thin and narrow, you see, so almost just like little flicks across the horizon off in the distance. You got that? You can see that? Let's put one or two little puffy ones off there just to indicate. It's almost like a lot of cloud way off in the distance, miles and miles and miles away, moving in. Now, let's stop at that for a moment. You see, isn't that just a nice simple subtle sky, simple couple of clouds floating across? And I might go up and put one just coming down into the painting from there, okay? And then soften it back. And I will leave the texture. Now I'm cleaning my brush again, because it's going blue, you see. So I'm just going to soften that back in now. It's a kind of a clean, dry brush. Soften that down. And fine. I think I'm happy with that. Nice, simple, white, fluffy clouds going across the sky. And you could add to these if you wanted to, okay? You could just take a hint of Naples yellow, plenty of white, and what this colour will do then is give it, as you know from previous lessons, it gives it that bit of a punch. So the sun is catching the cloud and it gives it that real nice sort of, you see? It really gives you that little bit of brightness that you can see high up in the sky in some clouds. They're very, very whitey, yellowy kind of glow on some of them, don't they? And we put one or two here. It's just on the left hand edges of the clouds, so where they might catch the sun. So let's imagine the sun is over here on the left hand side, way off in the distance and high in the sky, and it's catching some of these here, you see? And this just adds an extra little dimension to the cloud, that's all. Now clean your brush just to keep it nice and clean, and then go back in again. Let's get one or two up here. And I'm very careful now not to overdo this. I just don't want to end up with loads of blobs of white all over the place. So I'm taking it nice and easy, nice and handy as they say. Take it nice and handy. There. And I'm going to leave it. I think that's fine. Nice fluffy white clouds up in the sky. Nothing dramatic, no fancy big shadows or anything like that. Okay. Let's take off the masking tape and we're going to move on to the water. And the water, believe it or not, now is fairly simple. I'm going to make up a nice dark greeny bluey kind of a mix. So with my large stubby brush again, and I'm going to just check the camera now to make sure it's still recording, because I've had lots of trouble with this lately. Not saving the files, and the files are not working properly, and it's really frustrating. So I'm going to keep looking at my camcorder to make sure it's recording properly, alright? Do forgive me. Let's take a large stubby brush and let's take some phaylo blue this time, because I want a nice rich green. Phaylo blue, lots of it. In fact, I may need a bit more on my palette. I only put a tiny bit out. There we go. Phaylo blue. Beautiful colour. One of my favourites. I'm going to take a hint of cadmium yellow and then some Naples yellow. So that now will give me a beautiful turquoisey, greeny kind of a blue ocean colour, okay? And maybe a hint of white into that as well. Now how is that? Always when I'm adding a tiny bit of turpentine, so I'll say something like let's dampen it a bit. What I mean by dampen it a bit is just I'm taking a tiny bit of turpentine with the corner of my brush, okay? So I'm dipping it just touching the corner of my brush, and that gives me enough turpentine to thin the paint to what I need, okay? So little bits at a time. Don't go right in and soak your brush with turpentine because it'll just be like water. So little tiny bits at a time, that's what I would say. Now let me take a look at this. Right, I'm just going to look. Let me see. Now it looks much bluer on camera. It's a kind of a greeny, turquoisey colour. And let me just fill that in first. I may add a touch of black. A tiny touch of black, because I want this to be nice and dark so that the boat stands out lovely against it. Let me just go first now like this, right across there first. I'm going to lighten it off in the horizon, so it's going to be nice and light off there, but first I'm just going to use this and fill in most of what I have here, okay? Now, more turpentine, more phaylo blue, more cadmium yellow, just a little, some naples yellow, lovely colours, and a hint of black. Now that's lovely, it's a wonderful colour. I'll just go around my boat now very gently there, very carefully. Now you see, I did bring this down. On the photograph it's up very high. I didn't like that, so I brought it right down by the boat. So the beach is just coming along here at the edge of the boat, okay? I think it'll make a nicer perspective. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush, okay, dampen it just a little and give it a good dry. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to put in a nice light colour off in the distance out there. So it's going to almost disappear into the sky, almost, but not quite. Now let me just check. I took some white, some naples yellow, and a little phaylo blue. And let me just have a look at this now. Let me just go right along here first. And the best way to get a nice straight line is to lean down very hard on your brush. Use all the width of the brush. Okay? Now let me just go back in, maybe a bit more white, and lean down hard and pull right across. Look, see? And I could even just soften that right down as well, look. So let me just stop now and take a look at this. See what we have. Yeah, that's a lovely green, I'm very happy with that. The next thing I want to do, the next job I want to do, is I want to just start bringing some darker colour, slightly darker colour through here and there. So I'm going to take, with this brush again, some phaylo blue, a little black, and a hint of burnt umber, and I'm just going to sort of bring just a little darker colour through here, just flicking it through here and there, you see, softening it in. And I don't want to overdo this now, it's just a little bit here and there. I might even take a bit more burnt umber in this. Because burnt umber mixed with phaylo blue will give you as well a nice dark greeny blue. Okay, so brown and blue will give you a kind of a green. And it's nice to just kind of practice that every now and again. Let me just go down here. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of colour, a bit of variety to the ocean. That's all I'm doing, okay? Nice and simple, you see? And what I'm going to do then is, I'm going to give that a quick clean now, just dip it in and give it a good rub on the tissue again. And I'm then going to take some white, which I have on my palette here already, and I'm just going to go along the horizon again. Okay, I want to soften this in a little bit more. Okay, give it a wipe, give it a clean, and start again. And what I'm doing is I'm just going over where the two meet. So where the sky meets the ocean, I'm going right over that line and softening them together, just like that. So it just adds that extra bit of depth to the painting, you see. So it's not a hard, solid line, it's almost just, it goes off into infinity, doesn't it? And there we are. Now, I want to create a wave, a nice wave coming in. And the way I do that is, look, just a nice simple way of doing a wave. I'm going to take a nice flat brush, something with a point on it, okay? So a fairly new one. These are just cheap synthetic brushes, all flats. I use all flat brushes, only one or two round brushes for trees, but most of the time they're flats, okay? I have a stubby brush here, that's too big. So I'm just going to use one of these little flat brushes, and what I'm going to do is take a very dark mix. Now I don't need turpentine in this because the canvas is already very wet and I want the next layer to stick properly. So I'm just using a brush with paint. I'm going to take some phaylo blue. I'm going really dark now with this, okay? Some burnt umber. Again, that gives us a real dark bluey green, doesn't it? And I may take a touch of crimson. Just a touch, okay? So those three colours mixed together, lots of paint, lots of paint. And I'm going to just kind of put a crashing wave coming down at a slight angle, okay? You could go straight as well, but I think because we're at a slight angle on the beach, I might put a kind of a wave coming down at a very slight angle like this, okay? So something along those lines, yes? Let's try it and see. So what I'll do is simply flick down and out. Alright? And the trick with this is not to keep it the same the whole way. So you could make it slightly higher on one side. Okay, and then go along like this. And then it can come down again. You understand? So you get the technique. It takes a bit of practice, but you will get it, okay? So I come down here, nice and dark again, look, okay? And then back up again. And it's just little flicks, you see? That's all I'm doing. Lean down hard when you want it nice and dark, look, and then bring it back up again. Like so. Isn't that making a little bit of sense to you? Put a nice dark bit along here, and then maybe come back down again. As it goes off into the distance, then I'm going to let this kind of fizzle out and disappear into the distance. Look, okay? Just like that. Remember, keep sitting back. You have to sit back. Keep sitting back all of the time. And let's go like that. And then what I do at the bottom is, this is important, when it comes down at a curve, it comes straight out then, you see. This comes right out straight with the edge of the brush in horizontal lines, okay? Like that. So it comes down and it comes straight out then across. So everything now is horizontal. The brush strokes I'm doing here, right? When I put it down, everything is horizontal like this. There, you see? And we can use this dark colour then as well, just to put some nice darks through the water like this, okay? And I kind of imagine sometimes I'm painting a tree in the water, so but with a flat brush. So it's like little branches coming off of it like so. You see what I mean? It does work. It does work sometimes. So little wiggles and everything is horizontal. I'm keeping the brush horizontal all the time like this, you see? Left to right, left to right. I'm not going like this. I'm not going like this or anything. Everything is left to right all of the time. Just remember that, okay? Left to right, left to right. Now, I will put an extra little one or two darks just off in the distance there, look. Just to suggest one or two waves kind of breaking off there as well. Okay, now, let's stop for a moment now and take a look at this. Yeah, I'm happy enough with that, that's quite nice. So I'm putting this brush down now. I'm just going to give this brush a quick clean. This is a nice brush, I'm liking this. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pointy brush. I'm thinking pointy. Let me just have a look now for a moment. Yeah, okay, let's see. So you see, I'm only using the photograph now just as a reference for my boat really. I'm making the waves up myself, okay? So now just a little bit of white, and let's just go along here with a little bit of white, here and there, and we can go down and back up like that, just to suggest the tip of the wave kind of coming down. Another little bit there, like so. So it's not a very rough kind of a wave splashing down, it's kind of one that's kind of just starting to come in. You know the ones I mean? You look out and you see them just starting to form and starting to turn over. So it's that type of a wave I'm trying to achieve. Now again, it's just an impression, it's never going to be perfect. Let's come down here a bit more with this one. Okay, now let's sit back. Yeah, not bad. I keep sitting back and I keep looking because that's the best way to get perspective on your painting and see how it's looking. Let's put one or two just off in the distance on this as well. Okay. And I am just trying to keep it nice and simple, because the focus really is the boat. And let's take some cobalt blue with some white. Okay. Nice thick paint. Even a touch of thinners in this will help it move around that bit better as well. And I'm just going to come along here and put some nice lights in down there. So a couple of little wiggles. Like so. It's just really to add a bit of interest and to just mix it up a little bit, you know what I mean? That's all it is. So my next job is I'm going to take another smaller flat brush. Okay? My small stubby, it's the very same thickness as my small stubby, okay? I just don't have one to hand at the moment because they're quite worn. And I'm going to take some white, a little bit of cobalt blue. And what I'm going to do is come down here and create some of this water coming in on the beach like this, okay? Now I've done a tutorial on this type of scene in the past, you probably remember it, but it's just, I'm going to simplify this one because the tutorial I did was really in detail, so I want to keep this one as simple as possible, alright? So let me just go along here now, some nice white, I'm giving it a little wiggle like so, nice thick white, you see? Starting to kind of make a little bit of sense. And let's go along here And it's brilliant how you can do all of this just with a flat brush, a simple flat brush, nothing else. And I put another one around here. I'm cleaning my brush as well every couple of minutes, keep it nice and clean. And I'm leaving it sort of disappear off into the rough water, you see? There we go. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little hint of a yellowy green just to one or two of the waves up here. Just to show some of the light popping through. Just soften it down. Alright, lovely job. Lovely, lovely job. And then I'm just going to take a little dark colour, a nice dark browny blue again, and I'm going to go in under some of these bits here at the front, okay? Just a little. And that little bit of shadow will just bring them to life then. Now I'm still kind of not sure if this is what I was thinking. You know, in fact I may end up just blending this back in and doing it again, because what I wanted to aim for was I wanted to kind of soften the sand into the water. You know what I mean? That was kind of the effect I was trying. That's the effect that I had in my head. That's what I was thinking I would do. So, you know, with that in mind, let me just make a bit of pink. Look, I'm going to take some blue, some cobalt blue, some crimson. I'm going to make a nice pink there first, okay? A mauvey kind of a pink. And I'm just going to sort of soften that mauvey pink now just for a moment. Through here and there. Just a little. Alright. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rough flat brush and I'm going to make a nice sand colour now for this. So sand, I'm thinking Naples yellow, a little bit of crimson, a little bit of white. Let's just try this now for a moment, yes? A nice warm sandy colour. And I'm going to go up there and soften that just around the edge of the wave first, okay, for a moment. Just go around the boat. Alright, just like so. And then I'm going to take some of the pink, I'm going to soften, perhaps even with some Naples yellow, I'm going to soften some of the pink through into that water. Now I'm going to forget that I done this white at the front of the water, okay, because that's not the effect I was hoping to achieve. So I'm now changing my mind, and this is how I would alter something if I was painting myself. I'm just not happy with these colours at the moment. It's just not doing anything for me. So I'm just going to soften everything out. And I apologise if you've already been following me along. But painting is spontaneous like this. It changes all the time. It's never a simple, straightforward process. So let me just soften all of this now in here. Okay, there we go. Alright, stop now for a moment. Okay, I think that's looking a little better. Some more Naples yellow, little hint of pink. Let me get some more. There we go, a little hint of pink up there. Make a nice thick mix of this. Let's try a hint of sienna. The sienna will just warm it that little bit, just a little. I'll take a hint more of sienna with some turpentine, and I need to get some more Naples yellow. So I just wasn't gone on the kind of the foamy stuff that I was doing here. It just wasn't catching it just wasn't doing anything for me. And you get like that sometimes when painting pictures. You could do something and then looking back you might say, no, it's just not working. You know, it's just not what I had in mind, so to speak. So then you just go over it as best you can and keep going. You know what I mean? That's generally what I would do. Most of the time when I paint something like this, it works out fine. But when you're using a reference photograph just as a reference, but you're changing things along the way, it becomes difficult then to get the perspective right and get colours right, because you're doing it yourself. You're making it up out of your own head. Now, let me just take a little bit more pink, and I'm going to soften a bit of that pink just in here and there. I'm going to soften all of this out look altogether, okay? And I'm going to do it a different way. I'm just going to soften it back down. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take my flat brush with some crimson and some white and some Naples yellow. And I'm going to create this nice pinky colour on the beach, alright? Just here and there. I'm softening this together now right into the water, so you can almost see it disappear into the water, yes? I think that's a bit of a nicer effect, isn't it? I think it is. And you see then what I do is, with my flat brush, my flat little brush, then I can take some white, alright? And then I can go along and create some of these little guys, you see? Show the water sort of lapping in on the beach. I think this is probably a nicer effect rather than having that very strong white that we had earlier. I think a nice subtle effect like this might be a bit nicer for this painting. And another little bit there. So I'm fairly pleased that I decided to change, because the other one was just a little bit too harsh, I think, on the eyes, wasn't it? This is a bit more gentle. You see, a little bit more gentle. Now let's take a look. That's much nicer. I'm happier with that. Much happier. And then you can just put a little hint of shadow under, just around one or two of them, okay? Just to give it that little bit of life, that's all. Just an impression. See? Okay, we're doing quite well. Another thing I might do is with my same flat brush, I might take a little phaylo blue this time, just a little and lots of white. And I'm going to suggest some light hitting the beach here and there, look. Just with that colour. A little bit along here and there. That nice bright kind of whitey blue colour that you see on the beach, it's kind of reflecting the sky almost, isn't it? There we go. Alright, I am fairly happy with that so far. I'm thinking I think what I want to do is add a little bit of the sandy colour out a little bit further in the water. So pushing that rich blue back just a little. I think I would like to do that, so I'm going to do it. And just keep cleaning in between. Alright, just keep cleaning your brush. Let's soften this nicely, there we go. Now, it's a bit better now, isn't it? Yes, I am happy with that. I'm going to now I'm going to paint my shadow on the boat first. Before I do anything else, I'm going to paint in that shadow. And that will help me then with my colours, okay? So the shadow is basically just phthalo blue, crimson, and I'm going to make it a little bit on the blue side, I think. A little bit of white, but it's going to be warm. I want it warm, a kind of a warm purple. Ah, there we go, that's what I want. So you can see the shadow comes out like this. And it comes along like this. Maybe a little bit more pink as it comes around the front. And I may even add a little bit more very dark colour. Let's take some black into that, because it gets really dark, doesn't it? It gets really dark in here. Just in there. Very, very dark colour. I'm going to take a hint of crimson as well. And just don't forget your crimson, because the crimson will help to stop any greens forming in your shadow. So just remember, plenty of crimson, plenty of blue. And let's soften that out there now like that, okay? And I may even add a little hint of burnt umber down inside here and soften it out then. Alright? There, you see? That's quite nice. And we'll move on to the front of the boat. And for this I'm going to switch to, I'll switch brushes here now. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to turn my tissue paper around, because that's really bad, look at that. So I just turn it around and I have a nice fresh piece underneath. Now the boat is lots of whitey yellow, so what I'm going to do is, you see my thinners? Now that's pretty bad, isn't it? So I'm going to just soak up this with my tissue, get rid of that, and put in some nice fresh thinners. So a little drop of turpentine with linseed oil, just a little, and let's go and paint this boat. Let's have a bit of fun. Okay, you ready? I'm thinking I need a lot more white on my palette anyway, for starters. And let me check the time on the camcorder. Okay, we have 28 minutes of recording time left. So that's what we have, alright? Boom, boom, boom. Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at the photograph and I want to just lighten the sand a touch here and there. Okay, I just want to lighten it just a little. Just here and there. I can see there's a nice lighter kind of a fawn popping in here and there. I just want to get that in, just a little bit. Okay, that's fine, that'll do. Let's go to the boat, and the boat is it's a very whitey cream, isn't it? So a little bit of white and a touch of burnt umber, I'm thinking, with a touch of naples. And let's put that in. Paint in the back of it here. And then we go right up front of the boat. And this fawny kind of a colour, I'm thinking it's more a burnt umber with white rather than a Naples yellow with white. That's the kind of the colour I'm seeing as I look. Let me just get this in now first. We paint in all our boat first with this colour. Okay, some more white, little hint of burnt umber. Like so. I could even do a tutorial just on the boat on its own, because there's going to be a lot of work in this boat, I can tell you that. Okay, so that's that side of the boat. Then it gets darker as it comes down. There's a nice darker spot. I can see it's kind of a yellowy colour, isn't it? But I'm thinking burnt sienna with Naples yellow along the bottom of this boat in here. And I will then just kind of build on this, you see. That's what I'll do. Build on all of these colours. And I can see a kind of, again, a mauvey sort of a colour on this side of the boat up here. Maybe take a hint of blue and a hint of pink. And I'm going to soften that colour down. Okay, now just stand back for a moment and take a look at this. Right, now the shadows are kind of quite strong just here where they kind of change. They are kind of quite strong now, I'll be honest. I'll take crimson with a hint of sienna, and I'm going to create the shadow kind of coming down like this. Okay, and fill this in. Lots of concentration here. You could hear a pin drop in here, I can tell you that. And let's get some burnt umber with some sienna and a little Naples yellow. Perhaps even a hint of black as well, look. And I'm going to go down here with this. It's quite dark down here. And I suppose it will get a little messy the more and more paint you add on. So it will get a little bit on the messy side. But what I do is just take your time, just do bit by bit. Now there's a very rich dark blue kind of a ridge popping up here and there. So I'm going to get that in. Just a very eye-catching kind of colour just in there. And as well at the top there's a very eye-catching bluey black kind of a ridge as well. So a little bit of turpentine, a blue and a bit of black. Let's get that in. Alright, up here. Okay, there There we are, it's coming on quite nice. I'm liking that shadow now coming down, that's quite nice, isn't it? And I might even make that slightly darker on the top. I'll show you what I mean. So a little bit of blue again, a little bit of pink. And I might just make it a little stronger just up here and soften it down then a little, you see? Quite nice. There we go. Now, let's have a look and see what we're doing, how we're going along. Okay, I'm going to take a slightly wider brush just to get a bit more done, and I'm going to take some black. I'm going to go in under here now with a nice thick line of black, and it's almost going to kind of soften. Let's take a bit of Naples yellow as well, and it's going to kind of soften in to the base of the boat and almost kind of disappear, okay? And I'm thinking a bit of burnt sienna. Now, it's not on the photograph, but I think a little burnt sienna just down here, just to give it a nice warm depth. Okay, just like so. Alright, that's it. And I'll take a bit of black then, and I'm going to give the boat some rough kind of a look, yes? As you can see there where all the paint is kind of scraped off, peeling off. There we are, just paint on its own, just give it a nice rough look, all kind of roughed up. And then we have, it comes down on the other side then just a little as well, doesn't it? Let's take some burnt umber, there. Now clean the brush, and I'm going to go back into my shadowy colour that I made earlier, and I'm going to put that in on the left hand side of the boat over here. I know it's much brighter on the photograph. Let me just lighten it a bit actually. Okay, there we go. And a little bit down the end here. Now, how is that looking? Then I'm going to take my small pointy brush. I'm going to get some white and some Naples yellow. Okay, lots of it. And I'm going to just create the front piece of this boat here. And it comes right down, and it's really prominent at the bottom. You can really kind of see it as it turns around. Like so. I'll take a little bit more Naples in that, and let me just make it a little bit thicker. Alright, there we go. I'll bring a little bit of Naples yellow along in here. Like that. And okay, we're doing quite well now, aren't we? A little bit down here for the end of the boat. And perhaps a little along the top of the boat here. So you can see now all these little tiny little details are making a difference. Now we have a nice bright ridge again coming along the top of the boat up there. Okay, bring that down like so. And I'll go along over here, kind of soften them together slightly. And then we have, it gets thicker at the back, doesn't it? As it turns around. Okay. Isn't that wonderful? I'm really happy with that now. I'm really happy. I'm very happy with this at the moment. You know, it's kind of, it was hit and miss there for a while, especially with the water. I just wasn't kind of sure. I just wasn't gone on the way the water was. It was a bit too much for me. Too much for the painting rather. So I'm kind of glad now that I took that decision. I'm really glad. And it turned out really well, I must say. Now I'm taking some black and I'm going to put a rich dark black down in there just to really sit that boat right down, okay? Just sit down boat, just sit down. And in behind here as well we'll have all these little bits, blacky brown kind of stones, rocks, all that kind of thing. Okay, and let them sort of fade out. Stop and take another look. Yeah, pretty good. We also have some nice robes coming off of this. Some nice bright coloured ropes. So some Naples yellow and some white. Again. Simple colours, you see. And let's just go like this. Down like that. Let's perhaps even add a touch of cadmium yellow to the next one. Let's bring it down like that. Okay, very good. And then I'll take a little black just for one side of those ropes, just to give them a bit of depth and a bit of life. Okay, that's all. Now we also have some letters on this thing, this boat. I'm not sure whether to put the letters in. I don't think we need to. I'm going to put the number of my house on the boat. 14, look at that. 1414. And I'm going to give the boat, now we need to give the boat a name as well, don't we? And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to call the boat after my daughter, wouldn't it? Now my daughter's name is Eva. So what about Princess Eva of the High Seas? Yes? That'd be nice. How about that, Princess Eva? What do we think? It's just a thought. I think it will. Come on. I got a new brush and all. I have a new small little pointy brush for writing letters and that type of thing. Look. Princess Eva. Let's do it. I hope she likes it. Okay? P. Let me zoom in and show you what we're doing here so you can see. There we are. Right, well we have about 10 minutes left of recording time. P R I N C Princess Eva. Look at that. And you put a little dash between it, and we just put a couple of little dots, that type of thing around. Okay, little, make it look worn. And how is that? Isn't that wonderful? Ah, so look at that. And then I'm just going to add a little couple of touches of stones, that type of thing, just here and there on the sand, alright? Just one or two. And what I do then when doing stones like this is I just drag my finger along underneath gently, and that kind of sits them down on the beach. You see what I mean? And then I put a little bit of whitey blue just around one or two of them. So in other words, the water is kind of just running off of them slightly. You see? That's all I do. And then perhaps even a touch of light on one or two of them. Dab, 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 a couple of dabs. Last but not least, look at this. Look how well has this turned out. I need to do a couple of seagulls up here in the sky. A beach is not a beach without some seagulls, is it? Let's take some white. Put a couple of strands of white just there, like a bendy V. And I always like to do 3, an odd number like 3. Okay, let's take a bit of black just for the edges of the wings. And then the same just in the middle, 2 little feet hanging down. And look at that, my friends, we are done. You could also put a sailboat out in the distance as well if you wanted to. But let's zoom in and see what we've done. How about that? A lovely boat, and I'm glad I changed the water in the end. Well, Grady, I hope you like this. I kept it simple. You could add to this if you wanted to, but I think that's a huge success, don't you? And there we are. Right, I only have 6 minutes of recording time left before my camera shuts down. So look, thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed it. That's beautiful. I'm delighted. I'm going to stick a frame on that and hang it in the restaurant out in Wilton Shopping Centre. If you would like to support me, which I would really appreciate, just pop up to Patreon. There's lots and lots more tutorials on Patreon over there. Lovely in-depth tutorials and a couple of simple ones as well. So if you want to pop over there, have a look, see what you think. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. You're missing lots of fun tutorials. I will see you next week. I will be back next week with probably a nice street scene. I promised Suki I would do a lovely street scene not so long ago, so I'll try and get that done next week, okay? Have a lovely time painting. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy painting. God bless you all, and thank you very much. God bless.